Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, at this point you know I am here to talk about Joel Goldsmith, the founder of a movement called the Infinite Way, a development from Christian Science where he just went from an organized religion to no organization. Joel has written over 30 books. He has many tapes. He is a phenomenon and honestly a great gift from God. He is a transparency for receiving. Everything he's written and spoken came within himself. He was a retailer. He tried many ways to find God, and he will be the first to admit in his books, it's hard work. It's not for lazy people. So he is an example of someone who just tried and worked and meditated and failed and came back and tried again. And in his, I think, 70 odd years, early 70s, he's just created a movement that even ministers, rabbis, swamis, mystics of no name have honored the infinite way. It's one source, it's one love, it's one God, it's simple, it's salvation. And religions are trying to go from humanhood to God awareness. So all of this is just speaking about what Jesus spoke. He uttered as a mystic. So uttering as a mystic, for the logical, for one who wants reason, this is not the place to look. The infinite way has to do with an invisible you, an invisible me, an invisible everybody. We're not inside this body. I got a kick out of Joel as he worked with a physician, a doctor, saying, okay, see if you can find me in this body. And he has this little experiment of going head to toe, every organ, everything, and the doctor had to say, you know, you're right, you're not in there. So we are an invisible force outside the body, connected to everyone, to every plant, animal, star, planet. Think about that. We're one with this universe. It's easy and it's hard. It takes time, it takes diligence to meditate to the point where you're in realization. And realization is what has to happen for the presence of God to be full. And that is possible. The fullness of God means you have found grace, the presence, and this is the hard part for me, the presence goes with you wherever you go. The trick, of course, is remembering that, realizing it, having the experience, no matter where you are, out, I call it the soil of your life. You're out and you're busy because we're living here. You've got to be cognizant of who you are. And that requires starting your day with, this is the day the Lord hath made. Let us be joyful and grateful and know the presence is with us. That's how we start our day. And from then on, we set the scene. We walk into miracles. We see and hear the voice. The word is the manna. Joel talks about the manna from yesterday, the manna, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's fresh. As you're in the moment, as you're alive, as you're in the presence, the word is the manna and it's fresh. It's a revelation every single day. It's brand new. Nothing from yesterday, nothing from an hour ago, which is why this is diligent work. This requires meditation, quiet time. I'll talk a little bit more later about the monastic life, but I can tell you right now, living very fully in a social life can be a challenge, but it can be done. You just have to be aware of what you're taking on and what stage in life you're at. Now, states and stages are something Joel speaks about a lot. We're all at different stages and states. We come into a karmic world, which is, they say, 90% ignorant of the law of love, of what's real. This is God's universe. So try and get that. This is God's universe, and it is good. That's what Jesus said. This is a good universe. Everything's good. No evil. No good. No evil, no good, nothing other than it's perfect. We don't look for I, me, my, me. We don't go for what do I want. In our prayer life, it's not about, oh, I got to have this. That's not going to be heard. Let me tell you, that is not how the fullness of God works. We've got to get the personal life out of the way, the human life. And Joel says this, you're not human beings. Now there's a good loaded sentence. You're not human beings. So you're not human beings, but you come into a world where karmic law is present. We got climate stuff, we've got food stuff, what to do. What's the latest disease? How old are you? Are you aging? Everything that we are taught from parents, from schools, from governments isn't true. It's not real. If you get it, that God is love, it's His universe, it's good. It needs no doctoring. Joel is trying to help us with, please try to get rid of the good and the evil. Reinterpret what you're looking at. Let me talk about that. Reinterpret everything in your world. You have a chance to be in the presence if you catch yourself and you flip it into, I'm going to see as God sees. Simple. I'm seeing as God sees. Everyone is whole, complete, perfect, filled with love. Because God is, he's just pours love. And he uses the analogy, Joel does, about the vine and the branches. He says God pours into the vine goes to the branches, and we become the vine. But we do draw on the presence. So try and think of the tree of life. God pours its love to us. We sit and realize it. We absorb it. We take it. We become that powerful vine where we flow the love out to all the branches. And that's our job. That's where happiness comes from. Happiness, you're happy if you're giving love. You're happy if you make other people happy. That's what makes life real. Because if this universe is good and you've been given love and you've learned to meditate, accept it from the vine, and then you become the vine, and then you shed your light and your love on all folks. Now, I always say often on a show, think of the worst person you know. You've got to reinterpret what you're seeing. See as God sees. God does not see people in trouble with themselves. Maybe not very spiritual or evolved, or maybe just having a lot to learn. They're out there. In this human world, there are a lot of folks who are into greed, into one-upping, into taking advantage. So that's a tough one, isn't it? And there's where we reinterpret what we're looking at. And if you catch yourself in judgment and you turn that around, you have the fullness of God. Now, if you want a life, that's incredibly important. Yes, you want fullness of life. You want God to give you the added things. But it's not going to happen if you've got your laundry list there with everything that you think would make you happy. It can't happen. It's not going to be as good because you're looking for everything in a plane and in a dimension that's human. And you came in karmically. Don't be hard on yourself. I am very, very hard on myself. So I have to always say, you're okay, Penelope. You're getting there. But you didn't remember something a minute ago. It's a karmic planet where it's like going back to Adam, where good and evil was what was going on. And we have come into that. So to overcome that, prayer really means listening for the word. Listening. No laundry list. No what I want. What would make me happy, God? Is this, that, and the other? And I don't know. Joel says those prayers are never answered. I don't know if you've noticed all the things you think you want, you've asked for, don't happen because it was your idea. It's the I, the me, the my. It's personal. God's love is impersonal, universal, impartial. It's a love that's different. It encompasses his entire universe, which is good, and I'll say that a lot. He created this amazing world where everything is good. Now, if you can really hang on to that and know, realizing the presence of God allows you to be that vine and to share, that's when greater things than this you shall do, but also the added things, things that are miracles because you're sharing love. Miracles happen with a loving, sharing soul. We are the soul of God. We may look like people, but this invisible energy, which is who we really are, which is outside the body, this body is the instrument. It's something where your beliefs will show up in your body. If you really believe something, that's what's going to be going on. Because you've programmed it. You've accepted it from this world that says all of these things can happen to you. You can get old, you can get cranky, you can forget things. Yeah, if you become those beliefs. Or you can have the knowledge that if you realize who God is and the love that He's given you to have no disease, no death, no illness, no lack, if you can do that, that's what you will have. That is knowledge. So beware your thinking. Let your limiting thinking go. That's a mouthful. Anything that you feel can't happen is wrong. Anything can happen. Miracles are sharing the love. Miracles are remembering, reenacting what you're looking at. Now, he talks a lot about mysticism. He talks about religion. I think Joel will tell us. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned the name of this show is Letters. The Letters, 1956. I apologize. I got so carried away at the beginning. Because I've done the Letters 1955. This one has two important points that are different. And one is about raising children, helping them to see that, yes, they have a God that loves them, they have parents that love them, which becomes their world. But if we can help our children when they're ready to know that they're never alone. They might go out to the door to school without mom and pop and without all the initial security. They need to be taught as cleverly as you can that God goes with them, holding their hands. They have been created with love. They have a father, a mother, and a father, and a real father. They have everything that they need. So, again, this is the Letters 1956. But right now I want to get to the monastic life because I'm finding that's helping me. And this to me is so interesting. I haven't seen it in any of his other books about the monastic life. What does that sound like? Well, okay, you're in a monastery and you don't have a life out here in the world, which is social and busy. And it's not being in a monastery alone with God and those that are seekers like you. It's possible to be in the monastic life in this body. And what Joel is suggesting is anyone who becomes someone in a monastic life has been given a gift to do that. They have been told by their missions, because they have a mission they're sticking with that they love, that God gave them as well. He's performing everything we're supposed to be doing. God is perfecting everything about us. But with that mission then can come a gift like, all right, maybe for me to really do this well, I have to allow myself to live a monastic life where maybe I'm not as socially active as I used to be. Maybe I'm not rearing children right now. Maybe I'm not in school. Maybe I'm not a little kid. I have a door opening where I have some more time. It can happen anytime. It can happen as a teenager. But for me, having a busy social life, educational life, teaching life, it's helped me to say it's okay for me to live as monastically as I do without apology. And that's key for me, that it's okay. That not being as socially active allows me to meditate more frequently, to be more aware, to enjoy the silence, to enjoy the presence. So that to me was a great gift. And it's a gift given to many. And if you didn't know you got the gift and you're living quietly, it's perfectly fine. It's been given to you as a gift. It's a good thing. It's a wonderful chapter. And also we must keep remembering, God did not create old age, disease, sin. None of that is in a universe that is good. But to get to that universe that's good is for the disciplined, for those who may go off in lots of other directions and find it's unsatisfying. This earth plane and all the stuff it stands for, you finally say, oh, is that really fulfilling me? Is that giving me happiness? And often, too, the trials that we overcome, the work we've had to do when we're either very ill or we have really just gotten into some sort of a lack or life is just really awful. Those can be the greatest shifts to spiritual development, because then when all else fails out there and there's no place to go and you're hurting that badly, you go within. And then you find who you are. You find the love within you. It allows you to grow and to change. And we've all been hurt. Joel mentions in the letters 1956, we've all been hurt. And so we have to get over that. We can. Let's not hold on to past hurts and say, I'm going to make a lifestyle out of that because it'll excuse me, or maybe people will love me more because look at this terrible trip I've been on. You have to stop that. Go back and be the child that received love. Go back to being a baby again. Take life on with trust again. Now that sounds easy, doesn't it? But it comes from a core of deep realization of who you are. And when you are not feeling good and you're depressed and life is just a bummer, going within, Jesus said, my peace I will give to you. Love and peace go together. And it's there. Peace is there and direction is there. Let's talk about direction. I'm big on direction. If we're going to meditate, what for? What's the manna? The manna is the Word of God. If you're going to be quiet, yes, unburden yourself with God. I love doing that. I do it and it works. Let God know what's bothering you. There's nothing wrong with unburdening with the Word. That's a way to get to prayer. And those are I love the fact that those are always answered. You go into silence, and then in quiet, you start hearing. You start listening. And that's the moment that manna, moment to moment, will reveal the fullness. It's like the miracles within you that are constant. As love, as you reinterpret the universe as a loving vine feeding branches, seeing the perfect person that you're looking at, no matter what it looks like, no matter what stage and state a person is in, not judging. Boy, that's hard, isn't it? Not judging, because we came into a world that says this is good and this is bad, so now I'm going to judge those things. God does not do that, which is why he doesn't answer those prayers that say, I want a car, God, come on, let's get with it. That isn't at all interesting to a God that's only love, that only pours that to you, and only really wants you to talk to him. He wants you to hear the still small voice. That's what he wants you to do. And he can't make you do that. He can only know that because deep within you is all of that perfection, you will get there. Whether it's this parenthesis or another one, we all come in with different stages and states. And that's magical. This is a beautiful universe, my friends. It's magical, it's beautiful, it's perfect. I love the fact we can commune with trees and animals, and once you feel that fullness and you look around this universe and feel everyone is celebrating with you the beauty, because there was a divine love that created this entire loving package called the universe. One source. And when I think of Revelation, all of those mystics, let's call it Lao-Tzu, we call it Jesus, we've got Moses, John, Paul, Mother Teresa, St. Augustine, Emmett Fox, Meister Eckhart was one of my favorites. All of those masters shared one love, one source. That's all they knew, one love, one source. And those mystics, no matter how much we read, which helps us along the way, all of the work that these mystics, including Joel, Mary Baker Eddy, all the work they have done in moving consciousness to a vital, exciting place that's rising all the time. Joel mentions in this book that we are like a drop in a big bucket of consciousness. And all the love that we transform, everything that we do to make love who we are, adds to consciousness all over the world. Don't think your little drop is not going somewhere. When it's transformed, when it comes from the source, you're just raising the world of love, of the universe. Let's talk about little kids too. Little kids come in, and you know today, from what Joel says, which I like, little kids have an advantage today. They come in with a lot of work having been done in spirit, in consciousness. When they go within, there's more better or more evolved energy waiting for them. Now, I hadn't read that before, and I thought that was kind of interesting, that we are, I want us to get that we are changing, that we're rising in spirit, that the work is being done. We have a right, Joel says, to a spiritual government, so we can start there. There's an assignment. Let's ask for humanhood in our government to be a spiritual government. The work you do, dropping your love into that bucket, is going to help transform the whole world, including your government. And with what's going on in the world too, everyone is coming out in love for one another to do their share. Let me talk a little more about that. Yes, the so-called little guy, who's not, of course, a little guy, who didn't vote or can't find a mission, let me tell you, today, as you know, they're all over the place. There are places to serve where people are not being loved, and voices are being heard, and protests are happening, and loving one another. The work that we've done in consciousness is just showing up everywhere. It's part of this brilliant plan about love. It's not going to go away, folks, and there's everything that you can do to help this world. Find a place, find a mission, find a way. I'm sure you all have, but just know it's there. I think we're getting that gift of this elastic band where this good is wonderful, and we see we're getting more information we may not want to get because of the media or whatever it is, but we're certainly seeing where our loving thoughts can help change this entire world. The work that we do, the action that we take. Let me talk about action and presence. Another comment that I thought of about, we don't have to act on everything in our personal lives, but being in that presence, again, is prayer. Prayer is the contact with God. It can happen. If you have to pray a lot, if you have to rest in spirit, spirit needs to be your life because that's what it is. You are a spirit. And you are connected to everybody. You're alive and vital, and you are a beholder and a receiver. Oh, I will repeat Joel saying again, this is not lazy man's work. And I know that because when I show up to do this, there are times I think, oh, can I ever get through this? I read these books, I take my notes, and I wonder if I'll ever get it. Do I get it? And then I have to wait until something gels where I get excited and I feel a shift within me, which, by the way, is what missions give us. Sharing the word, finding a way to be aware. How you deliver your speech, how you do your artwork, how you write your book, how you love your neighbor, how you clean a house. You know, the infinite way is not about being in a baseball field screaming from a rafter. As a matter of fact, because mysticism is not logical or reasonable, You want to be very careful that you are sacred and private. So wherever you go, all of this is going on in the perfect world that's real, no matter where you are. That's where you're doing your work, out in the soil of your life, and you get it. You get how to be happy. You serve because the happiness you give, when you give, makes you happy. And we have a world, too, where mystics have done so much work. They're always with us. Spirit's always with us. We're incarnations, yes. We're in transition, yes. There is no death. And as a result, Jesus, all of those mystics are right there saying, let me support you. My work that I did while I was in this dimension, I'm giving to you. We're all raising the planet. It's perfect, it's whole. So let's get the rules today. 90% of this doesn't make sense as far as the human plane. Joel says you're not a human being. Okay, that sounds kind of like confusing. However, if you get it that you have a soul and your soul is God's, that's what your soul is. The soul that you have, and everybody has this soul. There's one big soul, but we all have the soul, and the God that created us, we are part and connected. We're not separate, my friends. Anywhere you go, you're not separate ever from God. Of course, the chore and the job is realization, remembering, giving some serious thought to meditation and quiet. Yes, if it helps you to get into your silence, unburden yourself. Speak from the heart. And this is the thing that mystics have in common, the heart. They have, like I was mentioning, all of these mystics, Jesus, they didn't have boundaries of any kind. None. They were love. They didn't have rules. They didn't have dogma. They didn't have creed. They just knew we are all love and we are all in this together. So you must, in your working through your life, ask that soul within you. Sink into the love of your soul and receive. Your new mana, moment to moment, will be fed to you. The job is yours, my friends, and it's mine. And as I do this, if you find a mission that has you working hard to present something, let me tell you, you're smart. It helps to keep you alive and awake. And on that note, my friends, I'm going to say, see you soon, and thank you for joining me on Awaken the Dream.